Hey there and welcome. So you're building integrations with NetSuite. You already know that token-based authentication, or TBA, is the only way to fly these days. And today, we're not just going to learn it, we are going to master it. Let's dive right in. But let's be real for a second. You're probably here because you've slammed your head against this exact error message, maybe more times than you'd like to admit. It's the one that just brings everything to a grinding halt. I'm here to tell you, you are definitely not alone. This is, without a doubt, the #1 roadblock for developers trying to connect to NetSuite. But here's the good news. It's not some kind of dark magic. It's totally solvable, I promise. And that's exactly what we're going to do. Think of this as your complete playbook. We're going to walk through every single step, from the setup to your very first successful API call, and we are going to get you past that error for good. So you might be wondering, why did NetSuite even create this system? I mean, why not just use a username and password? Well, it all comes down to the fact that using old-school user credentials for automated stuff is, well, it's just a fundamentally flawed idea. And this really shows you why. On one side, you've got user credentials. This approach is so brittle. I mean, think about it. An employee changes their password because of a company policy, or maybe they get locked out of their account, and poof, your integration just breaks. But on the other side, TBA is robust. It's totally decoupled. The tokens are tied to the application itself, not to a person's password, which means your integrations keep running smoothly. Okay, so to get this all working, we need to gather what I like to call the 4 keys to the kingdom. Honestly, just thinking about them this way makes the whole process feel way less intimidating. And that's really it. The entire, whole, complex-sounding authentication dance really just boils down to getting your hands on these 4 pieces of information and using them correctly. Just 4 things. Now, what's really important to understand here is where these keys come from. You get the consumer key and secret from what's called an integration record. This basically identifies your app. Then you get the token ID and secret from an access token. This identifies the user and the role the app is acting as. And here is the absolutely critical part. The secrets are only shown to you one time. The moment you generate them, you have to copy them and put them somewhere safe, because you will never, ever see them again. All right, let's roll up our sleeves and actually walk through the clicks you need to make inside NetSuite. This is your step-by-step checklist to get those 4 keys. Okay, first things first. You're going to navigate to Setup, then Company, and then Enable Features. Head over to the Suite Cloud tab. You need to make sure 3 boxes are checked. Token-based authentication, of course, but also Client Suite Script and Server Suite Script. Don't skip the Suite Script ones. They're super important, especially for RESTlets. Next up, you'll create a brand new dedicated role just for your integration. You always want to follow the principle of least privilege here. And for that new role, these 3 permissions right here are the absolute bare minimum non-negotiable requirements. Without these, TBA simply will not work. You'll find them under the setup permissions when you're editing the role. After you add these, then you can add permissions for the specific records your app needs to touch, like sales orders or whatever. Almost there. Next, you'll go to Setup, then Integration, and you'll create your integration record. As soon as you hit Save, boom, you get your first 2 keys, the consumer key and secret. Finally, you pop over to Manage Access Tokens, create a new one, and link it to the integration record you just made, a user, and your new role. And that's it. You get your final 2 keys, the token ID and secret. Okay, now we've hit a spot that trips up so many people. You have your 4 keys, but how you use them is totally different depending on whether you're calling a modern RESTlet or one of the older SweetTalk SOAP web services. And you can see the difference so clearly here. For REST, you're building a totally standard OAuth 1.0a authorization header. But for SOAP, you're building this custom XML thing called a token passport that goes inside the SOAP header. Now, pay very close attention to this signature method name. For REST, it's HMAC SHA-256 with a hyphen. For SOAP, it has to be HMAC _SHA-256 with an underscore. I know it sounds tiny, but if you get that wrong, you're going to get a whole other error. All right, it's time. Let's stare our enemy right in the face. That invalid signature error. It is the most common, and yes, the most frustrating error of them all. Let's break down exactly what it means and how you can kill it for good. So when you see this, the first thing to know is what it doesn't mean. It doesn't mean your keys are wrong. What it means is that the signature, the cryptographic proof that you sent over to NetSuite, does not match the one that NetSuite's server calculated on its end. The problem is somewhere in your signature building logic. And the secret to solving this is a concept called the signature-based string. You can think of this as the secret message that gets signed. Your code has to build a string that is a perfect byte-for-byte, character-for-character identical twin to the one NetSuite is building on its side. One extra space, one wrong character, and the whole thing fails. For RESTlets, here's the formula. It's just 3 parts, all stuck together with ampersands. First, the HTTP method, gotta be in uppercase, like post. Second, the main URL, which has to be lowercased and then properly URI escaped. And third, all of your parameters, all sorted and escaped. So these right here are the classic mistakes everyone makes. Number 1, all of your parameters, the OAuth ones and the OAuth script and deploy parameters from your URL, they have to be sorted alphabetically. And number 2, and this is the big one, listen up, your URI encoding has to be RFC3986. That means spaces become %20. If your code library turns a space into a plus sign, it will fail every single time. Honestly, that's probably the number 1 cause of the invalid signature error right there.
Whew, okay, we've got the theory down. Now let's go get a real, practical win. The absolute best way to check if your 4 keys and all your NetSuite setup is correct is to use a tool like Postman before you even write a single line of your own code. So inside Postman, just go to the Authorization tab and pick OAuth 1.0. Then you carefully plug in your 4 keys. Make sure the signature method is HMAX SHA-256. In the field labeled Realm, you're going to put your NetSuite account ID. And finally, just make sure that Postman is set to add the authorization data to the request headers. If you hit send and this call works, you can celebrate because you know for a fact your keys are good, your NetSuite setup is perfect, and any errors you get from now on are somewhere in your own code's logic. And there you have it. That is the complete playbook. You now know how to conquer NetSuite's token-based authentication. You've gone from using fragile passwords to solid, robust tokens. And you know exactly how to troubleshoot and defeat that dreaded invalid signature error. So the only question left is, what amazing new integrations are you going to build first? Thanks for tuning in.